So we have some Obamacare statistics here, and they say that 6.4 million have signed up for Obamacare. But more importantly, the states that had the most signups were states that Donald Trump had won in the election cycle. So what does that mean? Because Trump, one of his biggest campaign promises was to fully repeal and replace Obamacare, but very clearly, and I love how they do this, they never seem to mention what the fuck they're going to replace it with. And we're going to kind of break that down. So they say, quote, the Obama administration on Wednesday announced that 6.4 million people so far have signed up for Obamacare coverage for next year, touting strong growth despite the threat of repeal. The 6.4 million signups are through the preliminary deadline of December 19th, which is 400,000 more people compared to the numbers through last year's preliminary deadline. The final deadline to enroll is not until January 31st, when the administration hopes to have a total of 13.8 million people. The Obama administration listed Pennsylvania, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, and Georgia as the states with the highest number of signups. Okay, so first of all those states just named were Trump winning states. So again, what that means is that the states that have those states which have voted Trump are actually all the highest Obamacare signups. So this is very interesting, right? Because a lot of people seem to get lost in the fact that, because like for me, I think that a single payer healthcare system is actually the best way to go. But I'm also not retarded, and I see that Obamacare insures about 20 million people, and it has at least a few extremely key provisions. One of them being able to stay on your parents' plan for I think till 20 something, and the biggest one by far is not being able to discriminate healthcare by if you have a pre-existing condition or not, because if you have a pre-existing condition, you can't buy healthcare. You're fucked, right? So those were the biggest things of that. And I think that the idea of repealing it is one thing. If you were to say, I'm going to repeal it and replace it with single payer healthcare, like maybe Bernie Sanders would have said, I would agree, and I would actually trust it. However, what the Republicans, such as Mitt Romney and Donald Trump, want to do is they want to repeal Obamacare and not replace it with anything. What they say is they're going to replace it with the freedom to get your own healthcare plan. Dude, that's the same shit we had before, and it was terrible. So the it seems interesting because again, that's still, I think, on his website. I just read it was a full repeal of Obamacare, and he says that there can be nothing better done until there's a full repeal of Obamacare, which is interesting to say the least, right? But it's very important that we make sure that this repeal does not happen and we move in the correct direction towards a single payer instead of just going back to simple anarchy where you can't even buy health insurance just because you had a fucking pre-existing condition.